have been calling Eric Omondi, I have to now say this severally, to ask him to reach out to me so that he can tell us where that money he's saying is gone, like the 10 million shillings. And the family do not know how to trace that money. So if there's anybody here who knows him, we don't want to go and say he has taken the money or misappropriated the money, because as a scholar, we don't claim what we don't know. But what we know is that the family cannot trace that money he's saying. If he says the family's accounts were full, he is not Safaricom to know the accounts were full. The family has not come out and said their numbers were full. How did he know that Ojwang's father's phone was full, the wife's phone was full, the uncle's phone was full? Those ones remain claims. The family cannot verify the fullness of those numbers. So, to go straight to the point, I have the following issues. One is that officially, I want to say that the family has agreed with all stakeholders that I'll be the family's spokesperson. Given what is happening, that the family cannot just handle within the inner circle, the nucleus of the family, but now I'm going to handle the issue of being the spokesperson, because there's a lot of information which is being misrepresented. So we shall be trying to coordinate that. And the family has asked me, I've told them I'm going on air. And I told them I'm going on air with you guys, like especially the ball with Benji, and they told me to tell you the following: that one is that the burial for the late our brother Albert Ojwang is being scheduled for July 4th. The Requiem Mass will be done on 2nd at the National Baptist, at the Baptist, I think it should be at the Ridgeways. So that will be a big ceremony. So we are trying to find how we can do it well. The family is appealing for anybody's support, and there is a communication, just a press release. We have just put a small one on. If you want, there are two numbers to contact: my number and that of the uncle, who is like, let's say, the inner circle, and myself as the spokesperson handling the external. We have put the family lawyer to focus on the legal matter, so that we don't have to be calling the family lawyer asking him about what happened between the president, because those ones are actually going to maybe complicate the case much further. So those are the decisions we have made. Tomorrow we'll be forced to do a press statement to clarify a few matters, but some of the weighty issues that some people have started collecting money using the pay bill number they have created, and the family cannot trace where that money is going. Somebody has created an impression that he put Ojwang's father's number there, and the family do not know how the money is moving. I have been calling Eric Omondi, I have to now say this severally, to ask him to reach out to me so that he can tell us where that money he's saying is gone, like the 10 million shillings. And the family do not know how to trace that money. So if there's anybody here who knows him, we don't want to go and say he has taken the money or misappropriated the money, because as a scholar, we don't claim what we don't know. But what we know is that the family cannot trace that money he's saying. If he says the family's accounts were full, he is not Safaricom to know the accounts were full. The family has not come out and said their numbers were full. How did he know that Ojwang's father's phone was full, the wife's phone was full, the uncle's phone was full? Those ones remain claims. The family cannot verify the fullness of those numbers. So we want me to call out Kenyans that in these times we are blaming a government that is corrupt. We cannot be able to be the same agents or the same things we don't want from this current government. Let's first of all, Kenya, look ourselves in the mirror and say whether I'm the person that I really want the president to be. If you're not that person, don't throw a finger. So the third thing I want to say, which is again clarification, the president reached out to Ojwang's family, and the president did not give Ojwang's family the 2 million shillings. The president contacted a bank in Homa Bay to send the money to the funeral account. And I can confirm that the president money has been received into the Ojwang Funeral Fund, and also Raila Odinga also sent money through a bank. Again, I can confirm Raila Odinga's money has reached the family. So that money is secure in a bank account where the family can access. Anifa has got a pay bill number which the family can track. They can know how much is there. So that's the phone number which we are going again to tell people that we encourage you to put your money in that pay bill number, but not any other, because any other the family can trace. The last one I want to clarify is that there's a lot of misinformation around the family, that the family has chosen money over justice. Let me clarify that. That is not the case. I've spoken to Ojwang's father, and that's why I'm speaking on their behalf, that they are not focusing actually on money. They want, first of all, justice, and secondly, how to rest Ojwang in peace, but not focus on the money the way people think. Remember, the money has not touched his phone. The money that given by the president he has not even seen it. It has gone to the funeral committee, which Kenyans are going to manage and audit to ensure it's done well. So there's no bias like that. And he has asked me to tell you guys, and I'm sure this is controversial, I'm sure some government officials are in this group, to clarify clearly that the statements he was giving, he was forced by some politicians, and to mention the name is the governor of Homa Bay that told her to
Gladys Wanga.
Yes. So those statements were not his. He was manipulated. And I can tell you, you can say, who are you? That man could not even afford fare from Homa Bay to Nairobi. Means that it's a very normal family. It's a very, very, I would tell them, down to earth family. He even told me, Professor, can you imagine? I borrowed money to travel for my uncle to Nairobi. I was supposed to travel with my daughter in law, and I couldn't afford. That's why I travel alone. That's why Ojwang's wife remained in Homa Bay. Then money was sent later by, I don't want to say who, because those are things we keep we keep them confidential, is when the wife traveled later. So just look at him as a man who is innocent. Maybe the worst word I can use is naive. And being naive is not bad. We have been naive. I've been conned too. You have been conned too. And if you don't have any naivety, then you don't even have faith. A human being by nature must have some level of being naive so that they can be capable of receiving faith even from God. That's why I'm naive, I'll go to heaven. But where is heaven? I don't know. Don't ask me. So let's allow that this guy was a naive person. He was forced to make those statements. So from now on, he won't speak. I'll speak on their behalf. And I'll only speak on their behalf, which is the family position, but not manipulated. So after clarifying that, I want to say that the family focuses on justice first, is when we can talk about compensation. You cannot compensate what we have not done. So having cleared that air, can I just make a short contribution, Tabel, then I can close?
Yeah, sure.
So my contribution to today's topic is the following, and they're going to be very brief. The first thing is that I've heard people talking about how is human life, like Debala has asked, how is human life become so easy that we can just finish it and move on? There must be something we have to do. We have had for a long time called forgive and forget, accept and move on. Those cannot take us anywhere. Let's confront our history with the shrewdness it has. Reality is brutal. Reality doesn't care. Reality is rude. We must really confront our reality. How have we reached here? How has our history been? And I don't want to go to details because everybody in this group is so intelligent that can digest what I'm trying to say. Our history, you know. So if we don't do that, we cannot do. I want to say the following again, the second thing. Let's put our nation, let's know that we must confront our history, because I believe that a nation cannot be built by reactionaries, and we have become a generation of current affairs. Today, someone shot, we run. We do mandamano. We do like that. We can never build a nation by reactionaries. We cannot build a nation by reactionaries. We have to be people who can look and assess and look at the root cause of the problem. In Latin, it's called causa causarum, the cause of causes. When you see Ojwang dead in the mortuary, it's not about a bullet. What has gone to the soul of the nation? So I want us to go and look at those questions, and maybe if you make contributions, have you really assessed that and put yourself to it? The second thing I'm making contribution is that we have a crisis whereby the president, of course, we know very well, they said they found some problems in the office. And then when they found some problems in the office, instead of solving the problem, they have created other problems. Now, the problem they found, plus the ones they have created together, the current president has no capacity even to understand the problem we have. He has no capacity even to assess it and even appreciate where we are. And then he reacts to the bullets, he reacts to the statements, he reacts to the lies and promise that we don't work, shift cabinet here, fire this person, replace that person. So we have to know that the president has no capacity to deal with what he's confronting. And that is the biggest existential risk. That's the biggest security risk we have because his mindset, that he has not have a mindset to do that. Remember, this president never worked anywhere in an office. His first job, he says, was an MP. And all we know how MPs can be there without doing anything. And then he never even worked in a corporate. Some of us, for example, Benji, you work somewhere, you did business, you burnt your fingers. Debal, you worked in KTN, you now work with TV47. You know how there's a way things are done in a certain way. This guy never even went and worked in a salon to know when that there's a time to come to office, there's time to get out of office. So he has no capacity to or even assess the whole thing. So have pity on him. And the only thing is to prepare how we can go and deal with it. The last point I have here is that change cannot be brought by people who are working for the system. So we have to classify in Kenya who is working for the system because there's a system launched even before independence. And then there are people working on the system. They can make some small incremental adjustments or amendments, but they can't bring change. But change can only be brought by people who are working against the system. So if you are here, are you working for the system? Are you working on the system? Or are you working against the system? And if that is the case, the last thing I know, Abiagwa killing Degwa here, you work with the royal opposition and the rest, which I appreciate what you've been doing. As we continue shouting one term, half term, and the rest, that is not the main question on the ballot. If we don't put the right question in the ballot for Kenyans, and if we cannot, as commission expert, when you don't have a lot of respect for you for your great communication, can we help Kenyans to formulate the right question to be put on the ballot? It should not be one term. It should not be half term. What question should be? According to me, even if we have even Kalonzo as the president, even if you have Jesus Christ as the president, and that person cannot solve the economic problem, utasema Jesus must go.